What do you think of when someone says they're going to get their life back on track? You think Rocky soundtrack, Eye of the Tiger, drinking raw eggs, running in the snow, all of that kind of shit. So in this video we're going to be going through how some of the smallest habits can have the biggest impact on your life. But the truth is, improving your life can mean just the consistent application of some reasonably small habit. And part of the problem is there are plenty of morons online who will tell you if you're not ice cold plunging, you're not running 1,000 miles, you're not getting by on 20 minutes sleep, then you deserve to die broken alone. And it's such utter horse shit, and I find it really frustrating. And I'll also reveal the two-step process that I go through every time I want to commit time, money and effort to something, walking every day. It's such a good one, it's dead easy to do, and actually you'd be surprised how many calories you can burn just by walking. Get out there, burn a few calories, it can help to clear your head, it can help to relieve stress, and there are a plethora of benefits of just getting out and going for a walk. And if you want to make it a bit harder, stick a rucksack and a laptop and a load of shit in your bag and get hiking. Review your finances. One of the things that we advocate for on this channel are reasonably regular finance check-ins. That's not every day, every hour, and every minute, every second, but once a month, once a quarter, just check in on your finances. It can be a really effective way to make sure that you're on the path to your financial goals. But almost more importantly, it also puts you in a situation where if you are drifting astray slightly, then it's much easier to spot if you've got those regular check-ins. Unsubscribe and spam like mad. I think it's fair to say I'm generally quite critical of the very online world that we find ourselves in these days, but one of the things that I really love to use is the spam folder. And I get emails all the time, things I bought 10 years ago and I'm still getting emails about them. Just spam them. Just reduce the noise that's in your life. It can be a distraction which you can just do without, and I think in this world where finding time to yourself can be so problematic, having things draw your attention away can be a huge hindrance for you. It's worth doing, and it's dead easy. Tidy your workspace. This sounds a bit OCD, but I've definitely found, and there's certainly evidence to suggest, that just tidying your workspace at the end of the day, when you come to it the next day, it's one thing that you don't have to worry about. You can just sit down and get straight to work. Drink water in the morning. Again, this is one that I had the folks in the science lab kick up.
We're mad scientists. I'm not a scientist.
But it's a very simple one. Get up in the morning and drink some water. Helps your body release toxins, it helps to satisfy cravings, it helps to reduce your appetite, and it's one of these things that's so easy to do and so simple, just worth doing. And there are just so many health benefits attached to it. Reduce your social media use. Now, I appreciate, as someone who is on YouTube, albeit in a small way, someone who is on YouTube asking you to use social media less feels very counterintuitive. I just look at some of the stuff that I scroll through during the day and just think it's such utter shite that I could really do without in my life. Backed by science, the folks in the lab kicked this one out. They did a survey with 230 college-age students and found that those who limited themselves to 30 minutes of social media time a day reported to be less stressed, less anxious, and had reduced feelings of depression and loneliness. 4 very good reasons to spend less time mindlessly scrolling in the internet. But on the topic of social media, subscribe to this one. Fit this into your 30 minutes in the day. Go to bed 5 minutes earlier. Now, I'm not a finger-waving parent telling you to be in bed at a certain time. All I'm saying is, whenever you plan to go to bed, just go to bed 5 minutes earlier and use that as an opportunity for some self-reflection on the day. A review of 47 past studies in 2014 just found that going to bed a bit earlier and doing some meditation and reflecting on your day is a really good way of keeping yourself focused, but also relieving stress and improving overall levels of happiness. Wake up and get sunlight. One of the effects of lots of mobile phone use is that it can kind of screw up your serotonin, which is what your body uses to regulate sleep. So by getting sunlight as early as possible, you boost vitamin D, but you also readjust your body's body clock. So by getting out and getting some sunlight as early as you can, you're basically giving yourself a vitamin D boost, which is always worth doing, but also you're readjusting your serotonin levels, which will really help to aid your sleep later on in the day. But it's also been proven to reduce stress, improve your mood, boost immunity, and relieves anxiety. Turn off news notifications. Now, I'm talking as someone who probably used to consume between 2 and 5 hours of news every single day. I would listen to it in the car on the way to work, on the train on the way to work, between calls, and then on the commute back, and then in the evening. And I go back to this old thing from Jon Stewart, apologies for the quality.
24-hour news networks are built for one thing, and that's 9/11. That the type of apparatus that exists in this building and exists at the other 24 news hours is perfectly suited to cover.
And I sort of agree, because we end up in a cycle, or the news networks end up in a cycle, where everything has to be plumped up and pumped up into just kind of nothingness. Did I really need to be up to date on every single power move that the UK and the EU were doing during Brexit? No, probably not. And so I still keep reasonably up to date on current affairs, but I don't let it overtake my life. I don't let it consume hours and hours of my day. And I've replaced that with listening to music I like, listening to podcasts I like. And you know what? I just feel so much better for it. I don't feel quite so anxious when I get a notification. Oh my God, what is happening in the world now? Oh, meteor's on the way. Grand. Planning your meals. This has got, I think, two key benefits. The first is you know what you're going to eat, which means that when it comes to doing a weekly food shop, you can do one big shop, which is much cheaper than going out and buying new ingredients every day or every other day. But it also means you're much more able to stick to a particular meal plan. If you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to get healthier, unequivocally a good thing. And again, plenty of evidence that having a meal plan will help you stick to a diet. Audit your content sources. For this, I came across, this is not a sponsor post, sponsorships aren't a thing for this channel just yet, but Grounded News I think is a really good service. I've not tried it myself, but plenty of people whose opinions I know and respect have. And it just tells you whether what you're reading is biased to the left or to the right, or for or against a particular party. And just doing an audit every so often of where you get your information and where you get your news can really help to make sure that you're hearing both sides of the argument. I think it's a perfectly reasonable thing to do, and with Grounded News it's dead easy. This one is maybe one of the most important ones, which is to design systems and to design habits that work for you. And this is why. I have two boys aged 2 and under. So getting up at 4 AM is, you know, doesn't really fit my lifestyle. Let's just put it that way. And so one of the key things, which I probably should have mentioned earlier in the video, is you don't have to do every single one of these. You can just pick the ones that work for you, that fit with your lifestyle, around your caring responsibilities, around your job, whatever. Just pick some of the ones that help. This is not a all or nothing scenario. Which brings me on to my next one. Don't let perfection get in the way of progress. So your New Year's resolution was to go to the gym 5 times a week, to run 10,000 miles or some other lunacy like that. If you can only make it to the gym twice a week, that's great. Not where you want to be, but don't let it, oh, well, I didn't go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so I'm not going to go Friday. Like, that's just insane. If you can work towards improving, or what you deem to be improving yourself, it's worth doing. Stop multitasking. So many people think that they're good at multitasking, and actually the evidence says that very few people can actually effectively multitask. And for the most part, you just end up, and the evidence suggests this, you end up doing less work and to a poorer quality or to a poorer standard. So it's just not worth it. But don't get me wrong, there are some things you can do. You can walk and chew gum, you can run to the train and listen to music, but when it comes to things that require your concentration, for the most part, don't bother trying. Just get better at prioritising. Do at least one chore per day. This is one that I've picked up, and I've actually found it to be really helpful. Instead of getting to the weekend and the house needs to be hoovered and the bathroom needs to be cleaned and the toilets need to be scrubbed, blah, 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 like the list goes on, just getting up a couple of minutes earlier and doing one chore per day. And it just means that when you get to the weekend, you're not just completely snowed under doing boring bullshit domestic chores. Do something that makes you laugh at least once a day. Maybe it's a prank on a colleague, but no bullying, obviously. But some people just don't make time to laugh. I must confess, I think prank videos are really, really funny. Shout out to Marty and Michael.
Oh my God!
Laughter has so many positive mental benefits, and just make time to laugh in your day. Again, one of the few good things about the internet that hasn't been completely corrupted is that there's loads of funny shit online, so just find something that you like and just watch it to make you laugh. Add one more vegetable. This can be an uncooked or a cooked vegetable, but no one ever died from having a bit more broccoli. Again, very easy to do. Listen to someone you disagree with. Link to the previous point about news and where you get your content from. I think just hearing the other side of the argument, even if it's from someone who you don't necessarily agree with, maybe someone who you think is a clown, just hearing their perspective.
Still debatable?
You might listen to their perspective and just think, yep, still think they're a clown, but you can say you listened. You can say that you seriously, intellectually entertained their perspective. And one at the end, a bonus one. If you've made it this far to the video, please like and subscribe. We're a new channel and we're on the way up, so join us on this journey. Be deliberate. So at the start of the video I talked about how I was going to go through my 2-step process, and I found it to be such an unbelievably effective tool, and I appreciate this is just my anecdotal experience, but the 2 steps are this. The first is being really deliberate about how you spend your time, effort, energy and money. Now you've probably heard of the 5-minute rule. This is basically if you can do a task in 5 minutes, you shouldn't put it off, you should just do it. Well, I've sort of flipped it on its head, which is if a task is going to take me longer than 5 minutes, then there's an opportunity cost to that time. And so if you're going to sit down and you're going to do something, whether it's watch a movie, whether it's do some revision for an exam, whether it's go out with your friends, whether it's to analyse your finance, even if it's a good habit, there's opportunity cost to you expending your effort and energy on that time. So the first thing you need to ask yourself is, if I wasn't doing this, what would I be doing? And then deciding if this is the best way to be spending your time. And I should be really clear, this is not me advocating for you working every single second of every single day. We went to the aquarium yesterday, me, my wife and my 2 boys. I could have probably churned out half a dozen videos in that time. But we went out to the aquarium, the boys loved it. Do I regret it? Not an iota, not a little bit. So it's being very deliberate and very specific about how you're going to spend your time. And then the second half, which I think is possibly the more important one, which is what would you have to do with this time to be proud of yourself at the end of the day? And one of the things I found is it really helps to put how you're spending your time into much better perspective, really. So I will sit down, right, I need to script 3 videos in the next hour, 2 hours, whatever it would be. And if I can get to 3 videos in 2 hours, I'll be really pleased with myself. I will have felt that that is time well spent. And just by having this sort of checklist in your head, what I've basically worked out is that I know I'm spending my time on something that's worth doing, because I've asked myself that question. But then the second part is, I know that I'm working towards something that will make me proud of myself.
Mission accomplished!
Now, you could go off on a plethora of different directions about you shouldn't seek validation from other people, blah, blah, blah. This is what works for me, and I found it to be really helpful in keeping me consistently motivated, even if it's for something that I don't particularly want to do. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.